keeping the First Amendment alive. We are at Fairfax County's cable access and internet radio station.
You're tuned into On Beat with OHLOW.
The radio programs aired by FDA reflect the viewpoints of individual producers and do not necessarily represent those of the station, its staff, or supporters.
Peace. Welcome back to On Beat with OHLOW. This is DJ OHLOW coming to you live from Radio Fairfax. That's WEBR Radio Fairfax. Live music by Chieflow today. I want to thank you guys again for coming out and playing acoustically.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you, O.
It's our pleasure.
We also have in studio, we have Miss Faye Painter from Autism Speaks. She's the executive director of the National Capital Chapter of Autism Speaks here in Washington, D.C.
That's right.
Previously, and I didn't know about this, but after speaking to Cece today, previously you were the president of the National MS Society for a very long time, for a couple decades actually.
Yeah.
Right? She just told me about that.
Yeah, the chapter serving West Virginia and part of Kentucky.
Okay, and I want to start the show. I need to apologize to you because when we first spoke on the phone, I was very aggressive. I apologize. I'm sorry. Everybody here knows it's passion. It's not aggression. It's not.
Well, hey, passion's great.
It was a little frustration in there
I cued her
as well.
in just a little bit when I talked to her.
All right.
I said you're very passionate.
Yeah, so I want to apologize because I
said you come off a little edgy a little.
Yeah, I was just a little frustrated because of the whole situation. It's just
no worries.
So, anyways, we'll just get past that. But Autism Speaks actually came up with the International Autism Awareness.
Yeah, the campaign Lighted Up Blue.
Lighted Up Blue?
Yeah, which took place in actually 150 countries around the world. And it's for autism awareness, which really we're changing more to the focus being understanding and acceptance of people with autism, but getting people's attention brings that along as well. And in the United States, like the Empire State Building, Niagara Falls, and of course the White House this year, but also landmarks all around the world.
So you guys actually lobby for autism. You guys, I was reading that you guys were part of the, and I'm sure you know better than I do, but they were lobbying for the National Alliance of Autism Research. Is that right? Or am I?
Well, Autism Speaks merged together with several other organizations. It's really a pretty new organization, just 10 years old.
Yeah, okay. 2005, I believe, right?
Right, 2005.
Okay.
And you know, it came on, you know, pretty strong and incorporated several other nonprofits, including NAR, which I think is what you're talking about, and CAN, which is Cure Autism Now. They merged.
Oh, but that was
Autism Speaks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was sort of watching on the sideline, shall we say, not part directly of Autism Speaks during the first 10 years of the organization, because, like I said, I'm very, very new, just 6 months. But and I was
just 6 months with Autism Speaks.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I was with the MS Society for a long time.
Okay.
But my son was diagnosed with autism in 2000 when he was 3. He's 20 now.
Okay.
Back when he was diagnosed, there was not a lot of awareness or understanding or acceptance.
Yeah.
And the prevalence then, I was told, when he was diagnosed, was about 1 in 5,000. And so
and now it's 1 in 50? Is that?
It's officially 1 in 68,
1 in 60?
but 1 in 42 for boys.
Oh, okay.
So I've watched over the years, you know, the prevalence increase, and also the, you know, awareness and understanding increase through organizations like Autism Speak and other organizations. And I think that has really helped to drive the diagnosis and the early intervention, which is really key to autism, is to get it diagnosed. So anybody who's listening, if their child or somebody they know is experiencing the symptoms of autism, which cluster in 3 areas: challenges with communication, social skills, and repetitive behaviors. But there's also associated conditions that happen in many people with autism: gastrointestinal problems, sleep disturbances, and seizures. So it's a really...
it's a wide spectrum, autism. I mean,
it is.
When I first met Scott, this will stick with me forever, because this is what I say to other people now. You told me if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Right. That's basically what it is.
Right. I mean, everybody's different, and how it manifests itself in each person. Whatever their sensory issues are, how they communicate, what their likes or dislikes, just like everybody else. It's you met one person, and we're happy Autism Speaks could come along and join the Autism Society, which has been working at this issue for a while. I think they just celebrated their 60th year.
Oh, 60th year.
60th
I didn't
year.
know that.
So we're, but I mean, the more the merrier. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. There's so much work to be done in this field, and in particular, with so many more children being diagnosed, people being diagnosed even later in life now, we're anticipating challenges in the next decade as young people with autism grow up to be adults with autism. Yeah. And there's kind of a services cliff that happens once you age out of the school, then there's a services cliff, and the service providers and the services available really drop. Really, scary statistics, like 80% of the adults with autism don't have full-time gainful employment.
So is it an age thing? I mean, or is it a school thing? Or where do the services actually drop out? Is it like when you turn 18, that's it, services are over? Or is it, like if there's a student that goes to college, does he still?
The money is the cliff, the money that's available, and hence service providers to help with things like employment, independent living.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Well, I mean, at age 22, that's when most folks age out of the school system. At that point, there's no federal obligation to provide schooling. So if there's not something available at the local level, and unfortunately in Virginia there often is not, they're working on it, but there really isn't a whole lot of resources available. So the phrase is, you graduate to the couch, and there's really not much to do at that point. They're working on improving day support programs, opportunities for volunteering, that sort of thing. But there's as the bow wave of autism, which started roughly in the mid-90s, hits, we're talking a whole lot of young people, graduating out, or not graduating out of the school system, just aging out of the school system in the next few years. And there's not a whole lot of places or things for them to go to after school.
So while I have you on the mic, I'm sorry, did you want to say something, Faye?
Well, I was going to say, I've been meeting with a lot of service providers and educators and so forth since I've been in this position, and there are some initiatives that are just budding and going to be blooming in the near future. There's been outreach to employers in the area. People want to hire people with autism, and they are also telling us that they're some of their best employees. But of course, if you have challenges with social skills and communication,
that's what I was going to ask about.
It's hard to get it's hard to get an interview, to put yourself out there. So there's a lot that we can do to really support people and make it happen to be more employment.
So let me just ask. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I'm just going to say, there's been a few programs that have been developed helping a handful at a time, a few here, a few there. But in the near future, we're talking about dozens of every year coming out of each of the school systems in the local area. So, the need is going to be substantial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so my question to both of you, actually, but Scott, to you first. So what does your organization do to try to help adults transition And I wouldn't want my son to, like you said, to move from school to the couch. So is there some type of program or a service that you guys have to hook up adults with employers?
Well, we've been working on that. We're just like Autism Speaks, working to develop those sort of programs. We also have what's called the TAP program, which is a support group for autistic adults by autistic adults.
Okay.
It's been around for a couple of years now.
It's run by autistic adults?
It's run through the Autism
awesome.
Society in Northern Virginia, but it's by adults for adults.
Oh, okay.
And they meet once a month and talk about various topics that's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of efforts underway, and they're not coming to fruition yet, but we're hoping they'll get there.
Is there? Do you think there's a big learning curve for people who aren't really hip to autism?
Well, yeah, but as Faye mentioned, there's individuals with autism make great employees. I mean, they don't go out and take a break around the water cooler to chat about stuff, because they don't chat about stuff.
Yeah.
So they make great employees, and we're working with the Autism Society, working to develop both companies that will support the Autism Society in the work that we do, providing funds for families that are, need to support their children but just don't have the income to do so through the mini grant program. But also, developing programs to help them hire individuals with autism, coach them through the initial stages of employment, so they understand what's expected of them and how to appropriately act in an employment situation, which is, in the world of autism, the intuitive things we all get day to day, that we just pick up naturally, they often don't. So they have to be very specifically taught, what do you need to do, what do you not need to do in the world of employment.
Yeah, man, it's
But another, if I could, just for a moment, there's another organization out there called Parents of Autistic Children of Northern Virginia, and we just happened to, on May 20th, 2 Saturdays away, having a workshop on just this one topic, on transitions. Transitions from preschool to elementary to middle and high school, transitions from high school to the world. And that's at the Jewish Community Center at 1 o'clock.
that's right here off in Fairfax.
Yeah, just
right down the street.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And can you give us that information one more time? You said it's going to be on May 20th?
May 20th, 1 o'clock, the Jewish Community Center in Fairfax. More information at POAC, POAC-NOVA.org. And for the Autism Society, our information is at ASNV.org, and that's where you can get the information on the TAP program, the one for adults.
The TAP program.
Yep.
And Faye, if people wanted to find you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to tell you, we too are sponsoring a transition workshop.
Oh, okay.
It's on June 3rd in Alexandria, and if you're going to ask me at what hotel, and I can't remember.
Okay, no worries. But if people wanted to find more information about that,
they could go on our website,
which is
autismspeaks.org. So at this we call it town hall that we're doing. There's breakout workshops on financial planning, post-secondary education, employment, and
this is open to the public?
Housing, yes.
Okay.
It's open to the public. It's free of charge.
Oh, okay, great.
We've done a few before, and they're really well attended. We had about 1,000 families last year come to them.
And is this is gonna be in D.C., not in Northern Virginia?
It's in Alexandria.
Oh, in Alexandria.
It's in Alexandria.
Even better.
But there's something else I want to tell you about. Do we have time?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how long we're going to be.
No, we got time.
On June 10th, the Fraternal Order of Police in Fairfax.
Okay.
And Autism Speaks. We're
the VA CHIP program.
No,
okay,
maybe. No.
Okay. All right.
Sorry. I don't know what that is.
All right.
Maybe I should. But in any case, the Fraternal Order of Police, we're doing a safety fair.
Oh, okay.
And there's going to be first responders there, fire, rescue, the K-9 unit, bicycle police.
Oh, okay.
And the Fairfax County police helicopter.
Oh, that's cool.
So for the families with autism, it's an opportunity to directly meet the first responders and get to,
that's cool.
to know each other.
Yeah.
With first responders, it's a big, it's the learning on their part to understand how to deal with people who have autism, like say there's something going on and the person can't speak, or they're having just a really lot of anxiety about the situation, or have sensitivity to touch, and if the policeman touches
they don't understand.
them,
They don't understand these things.
They don't understand. So it's important that a relationship be developed, and also it helps a person with autism to know what's going to happen in advance. So just to be able to see the inside of the vehicles and meet the people
that's awesome.
helps.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure the kids love that.
Autism Speaks, we're going to be giving everybody a safety kit, a really comprehensive kit.
Okay.
And then there's a resource fair. So there'll be about 20 or 30 service providers who will be there, each sharing information about, safety, as well as the other services that they provide in the community. So that's at the Police Academy in Fairfax.
Okay, the Police Academy in Fairfax, and that's going to be June 10th.
That's June 10th from noon to 3:30. In a minute, I could give you an address.
Yeah, no worries. I think the easiest thing is if people wanted to find more information about that as well, they can go to your website. It's all on the website, and that's autismspeaks.com, correct?
Yeah, you know what? It's not there yet
Oh,
because
okay,
we
okay.
just finalized the details today.
All right,
But
no worries. Yeah, that's
maybe
okay.
check-
It'll
check
be up
on
there soon.
Monday.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no worries.
The police academy's on Lee Road in Chantilly.
Okay.
It's in Chantilly, but
yeah.
I don't think it's Lee Road.
Well, that's where the academy's at.
Okay.
I know because
It's
yesterday.
the range.
Okay. I was there yesterday teaching autism awareness, 2-hour class of autism awareness and
Oh, okay.
safety to the brand new recruit class for the
Cool.
Fairfax Academy.
Awesome.
So they've already had a little bit of taste of.
So just
the world
real
of
quick,
autism.
I'm just curious myself. So what exactly are you teaching them?
Basically, the signs and symptoms of autism, so they can recognize it out in the field.
In adults or in children
No,
as well?
well, anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, adults or children. And then how to appropriately interact with someone with autism, how to deal with the sensory issues, how to kind of take a moment to just say, okay, step back for a second and go, okay, this is something different here. And I need to not assume that this person is on drugs or drunk or something like that. You know, it looks like it might be a disability. Maybe I need to call back to the station and get somebody out here that has a little more experience. One of the crisis intervention team officers, trained officers, who have more experience in this sort of thing, and just take a little slower. And obviously they need to, whatever the situation is, they got to get it resolved.
Yeah, exactly.
But take a little time to get it resolved. Hopefully, a little more, compassionately and a little more gingerly than they may have in the first,
They probably
right
need
off
to
the
teach
bat.
them to do that with anybody, whether
This
they
is
have
true.
autism or not. But that's really good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I've been over here biting my tongue saying that they should invite some black people out there too and see if they can interact with the police and see how that works out too. It sounds like a great idea. I think they're onto something.
No, listen, I know it's funny, it sounds funny and everything, but I've seen videos. I mean, we live in 2017. It's everything's about YouTube and being online. So I've seen several videos of autistic kids who have been pulled over or have just been driving and they couldn't communicate with someone else, and they've been in these situations where it's not that it's their fault, but I think the police could have done a better job of just communicating and just trying to figure out what the actual issue is here. So what you guys are doing, I commend what you guys are doing because we need this. This is very important.
I want to tell you something else
Sure.
about safety. So 49% of the people with autism wander. And so if you think about wandering,
Can you
maybe
just pull it forward a little bit? Sorry.
being, around a lot of people at a party at
Yeah.
somebody else's house, wandering. And among people with autism where there's an accidental death, 90% is due to drowning.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the whole reason that we're even here, period, is because of that simple fact. It's because I was really worried about kids not being, and that's the reason why I got in contact with you, is because we were trying to figure out how we can get people like Evan, that's playing drums, is actually a certified, what do I call you, a lifeguard or a
swim instructor?
Swim instructor, sorry. I don't even know. But he's a certified swim instructor, so we were trying to figure out how we can get people like him to get certified in the adaptive swim program, so we can actually try to hook parents up with people like him that volunteer to try to teach them to teach their kids not only water safety and how to swim, but just I don't think a lot of people are aware. I just shared a video a few days ago. I don't know if anybody saw it, but there was a police officer in the South somewhere that found a 4-year-old kid that wandered away, and he was drowning in a lake. I just shared that recently, so I'm glad you brought that up. I don't mean to cut you off, but that's the exact reason why I'm so worried about this issue, is because it's such a high number. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. Scott?
Well, and as you and I talked last month, there's adaptive swim programs with therapeutic recreation departments in Fairfax, and Arlington, and Alexandria, and then Prince William County recently over the past year through POAC
Thanks
Nova.
to POAC, yeah,
One of the
exactly.
POAC Nova's board members, Yukiko Dove, we helped support the beginning of an adaptive swim program down in Prince William County, which had never existed before.
Yeah, and it was awesome. We actually went to that. It was great.
So, the more swim instruction, is great for all the way around, but also teaching law enforcement, first responders, fire, EMS, that if you hear the word wander and you hear the word autism, the first thing you do is go look at the water.
Yeah.
Look in the water, because that's unfortunately where a lot of these folks go to right off the bat.
I talked to Oakmar, and you were right. It was like $12 a session or something like that. So it's fairly
pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it's really reasonable. And if you can't afford that, they have another reduced rate if you have reduced if your child has reduced lunch or whatever. So it's actually a really good program. And thank you guys, thank you, Scott, for making that happen, because I think you were one of the originators in that program.
Well,
right?
Our son's been involved in those programs for 15 years in Fairfax County. It's not something it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
And again, if funding is an issue, particularly for families on the lower end of the income levels, the Autism Society through the mini grant program can provide some funding for it's on needs basis to help families out. Because swim lessons, getting used to the aquatics environment is very, very important.
Very important.
In the world of autism.
Yeah. Especially now that we're moving into the warmer weather.
Absolutely.
And this is the time. And I see it more and more every day. So unfortunately, our time is up. I wanted to ask you guys so many more questions. I hope that you guys can come back again. And unfortunately, I don't know if there's any other parents here that wanted to ask questions. I know some of the parents couldn't make it tonight, but if anyone in the studio has any questions before Faye and Scott have to leave, I guess not. Anybody? I want to leave it open.
Ferris?
So anyways, before we do get out of here, Scott, let me just ask you again, if people wanted to find you online, if they wanted to find any programs or any activities you have coming up, where can they find you?
Well, the Autism Society in Northern Virginia is asnv.org. Parents of Autistic Children of Northern Virginia is poac-nova.org.
Okay, poac-nova.org.
Correct.
Okay. And Miss Faye Painter, I want to thank you for coming out again. And if people wanted to find you online, they can find you at autismspeaks.org. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not,
And then you can find your chapter. Which
I was going to ask.
It's
okay.
called National Capital Area Chapter.
Okay, so they go under Autism Speaks and then just go to the National Capital, and all your information is there as well.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you guys for coming out.
Yes,
and
thank
I
you
hope,
so much for coming out here.
Yeah, and I hope that we can, if you guys have anything else to ever promote, just let me know. If you guys ever want to come back, the doors are always open. And I hope that I can invite you guys out again soon. Like I said, I didn't get to ask all my questions, and I'm sure that some of the parents that couldn't make it tonight definitely want to ask some questions as well.
Well,
go ahead.
I just feel fortunate to be here and appreciate your efforts to make people understand more about
thank you. Yeah, no, we have to. That's the thing. Not too many people know, but my son is autistic too, and so it's, you know, like I said, it's something new to me, but it's I have to do it for him. You know, I mean, I'd feel like if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? And that's just what it comes down to. So it's very important to me. I mean, it's close to my heart.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I thank you guys again for coming out. Scott, I'm sorry, you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, the Autism Society's been around for 60 years. I've been around for 15 years, so we're always here.
Yeah.
And so now I have to head out to the Cinco de Mayo party.
Yeah. We appreciate it. And speaking of Cinco de Mayo, man, we have Chieflow, and they're going to actually you guys are going to play something nice for us, right? Because they're about to leave, so we need something like...
We're about to pick the most hardcore.
The most hardcore, all right. That's cool. Well, I want to thank you guys again. This is On Beat with OHLOW. We'll be right back. I'm going to take a quick music break with Chieflow, and then we'll be back with Life Changers. Peace.
When it's cold outside, come sit next to me. I'll keep you warm for a while. And when you're lonely, please tell me I'm the only one who will satisfy. And if you decide to come back out, add more fuel to the fire. Add more fuel to the fire. But don't play with me. Just leave me be. If I ain't got what you need, let's concede defeat. If you can't make up your mind, let's not waste our time. Let's say goodbye. Goodbye. Baby, when it's cold outside, come sit by my side. Keep you warm for a while. And when you're lonely, please tell me I'm the only one who will satisfy. Who will satisfy. When it's cold outside, come sit by my side.